That's right. You're locked into another riveting edition of the Kaufman Corner podcast. David Lesky, Soren Petro with you as always. Remember, if you're catching us via the podcast, we stream live Sunday nights, 9 o'clock. You can be a part of the conversation, as a number of people already are. So if you'd like to participate in the live edition of the program, just make sure you join us via all kinds of different social media platforms, for crying out loud. We do it Sunday nights at 9 p.m. We're going to talk about the dazzling performance of one Noah Cameron. Why is Daniel Lynch starting? When do the Royals call up Lucas Braun? Are they going to try a six-man rotation? Would that be something they should think about? Is there a future with Randy Dobnak, Nate Pearson, part of the plans in 27? Caglione continues to look like a star. Vinny Pasquantino and Michael Garcia are out on rehab assignments. They could be back soon. Kendry Chourio struggled a little bit today. How good is Angeibel Gomez?
Angeibel.
Angeibel.
The G is an H. It's the Spanish G.
Angeibel. Okay, there we go. That makes it better. Yep. And the Royals will be playing in the Field of Dreams game in 27. We're talking about all that right here, right now on the Kaufman Corner podcast.
You're listening to the Kaufman Corner podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Royals, breaking down the Royals like no one else can. Kaufman Corner is hosted by David Lesky and Soren Petro. David Lesky is an accomplished author and the publisher of the Inside the Crown Royals baseball newsletter. Soren is the award-winning afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. Kaufman Corner is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are your hosts, David Lesky and Soren Petro.
Thank you, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Talking some Royals baseball, talking about a brilliant performance from Noah Cameron. A one-hitter today, one hit, one walk, goes the distance. Very close to seeing a no-hitter. The Royals have only had, 1, 2, 3, 4 in club history, if I'm not mistaken.
One two from Busby, Jim Colburn, and Saberhagen, right?
Yeah, and 2 by Busby. Yep, 4. So we almost saw our 5th. Noah Cameron continues to dazzle. What do you got to say about this last performance, David? What do you got to say now about Noah Cameron?
I wanted. How many was it? Was it 9 left when I said that I wanted to see? Well, 7 or 2. The Dodgers game. I don't even care. He gave up 4 runs. I thought he pitched fine. He got a little. He was a little bit too careful early, and then got bit by a bad bullpen not being able to strand a runner or 2. So I'll call that. That wasn't a dominant performance, but now he's 2 of 2. I would call it. That was enough for me. That game against the Dodgers to say, okay, I don't. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was a 9 hits and 6 runs and 3 2/3. No, he gave up 4 runs. 2 were inherited runs scored. So he is well on the way to making me make stupid predictions about him next season that will look bad at some point.
Stupid predictions as in, he's going to be great?
Too good.
Predictions as in not so good?
Look, we don't need to bring up my Michael Wacha conversation. All right, let's keep that. No, look, if you put together a run like he has over the last, I'm gonna say starts because we know one was a relief outing. It's a bulk relief outing. I don't care. Over the last 5 starts, like pitchers don't do that. Let me give you Sarah Langs, the great Sarah Langs, tweeted earlier today. Noah Cameron has 3 starts this season of 7+ innings and 1 hit allowed. All right, that's great. Nobody else in Royals history has multiple starts with 1 or no hits and 7+ innings in a season, and only Paul Splodorf had 3 in a KC career. There are also, this is crazy, only 3 MLB pitchers since 1900 with more than 3 in a season, according to Sarah. 2024 Dylan Cease had 5. 1915 Grover Alexander had 4. And then the one that you go, okay, this could be Noah Cameron potentially. 2024 Bowden Francis had 4 also. So 2 out of 3, not bad. But it's the fact this is what he's doing is rare. This is not, it's not like, oh, he's having a nice 5-star run. No, he's having a historic run right now. And it's just crazy to watch. I mean, I don't think all 3 of those came on this run. I think he had one earlier this year, if I remember correctly. I need to look that up to be sure. But this is the type of stuff that you don't do unless you are just really, really good, or at least have the upside to be really, really good. I just looked. The first one was on June 2nd, so only 2 are in his last 5 starts.
Yeah, exactly. But one of them is in the last 5 starts. By the way, over those last 5 starts, which does include if you can call it the stinker against the Dodgers, it's the only one that wasn't a quality start, right? And I really feel like we have quality starts. We should have excellent starts.
Fine.
Like excellent starts should be like 8 innings, 2 runs or less. Right. Yeah. Like we've got 6 with 3 runs or less as a quality start. I think we should have like the, great start. Right.
Yeah. Called superior start.
Yeah. Or superior start. Right. Yeah. I like that. I'd like to see that added to it. But over the course of these last 5 games, 37 2/3 innings, just 13 hits, 5 runs, 9 walks, 34 strikeouts. That's an ERA of 1.19 and a whip of 0.584. For people, anything for a starting pitcher, anything below 1.2 is really good. He is 0.584. Okay, that means that's how many hits and walks you're giving up per inning. So he is basically putting on a base runner every other inning is basically what it is. And that is outstanding. And so I think we're at a point now, is it time to start talking about him as the number 1 starter of the Royals? I know that may sound foolish, because you are still all of your starts combined, which still has him with an ERA over 4. But he had an ERA below 3 last year. And when he's had it figured out in the 2 stints that he's had it figured out, he has been absolutely brilliant this year. So is it time to start talking about him as the Royals' number 1 starter? Are we going to be watching him start on opening day?
I mean, they'll probably give it to Waka. So, but if you were to say, who is the most likely of the current pitchers to be the best pitcher on the 2027 Royals? At this point, I don't know how you can argue it's not Noah Cameron. I mean, I guess you could argue Waka. I suppose you could. And I don't know that I have a whole lot to refute it. But yeah, I mean, I still think, we go back to the conversation. They need to get 2 guys better or as good as Michael Waka. I think you still need somebody better than Noah Cameron. If you want to win a division, I don't think Noah Cameron can be your number 1 starter. I say that as the numbers that he's put up are better than number 1 starters, but I think, you look at there's volatility in the profile because of the lack of velocity. It doesn't mean he can't be really good, but you'd like to have a guy who you can count on to throw 97, 32 times a year. If that exists, I don't even know if it does. But yeah, I mean, right now he's clearly the Royals' best starter. And if you looked at 2027, his stuff isn't bad. It's not like he's running out there with garbage stuff and just somehow getting whiffs. The 4-seamer is not great, which is what I think limits the upside to some extent. Although again, how much more up could it be at this point? But he gets swings and misses. It's just not on the 4-seamer, which he stopped throwing as much. So yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty easily the number 1 right now.
What do you do with him? I mean, like, everyone wants to say, okay, well, let's lock him up. I mean, he's still got another full year before arbitration, 2 more years before arbitration.
No,
he'll probably be a super
2. Yeah.
So he'll but that'll be the early arbitration where the money is still nothing. So the control on him is still 5 more years of club control. So, I mean, if you wanted to lock him up, okay, I guess you could steal a year or 2 in a free agency, but his profile doesn't seem to be one that you need to do that. But like the profile of the guy you'd want to do that for is the guy who gets the big strikeout totals, and the guy who gets the big strikeout totals is the guy who's probably going to get hurt, right? So from this standpoint, Noah Cameron's the guy who's more likely to have some longevity, although he has, I believe, already had Tommy John as a kid.
I think he did, maybe in college. I can't remember when it was, but yeah, it was before the Royals. I don't think it was in the Royals organization even. I could be wrong on that. I'm looking at it. Yeah, if it had to be before. Because he didn't miss any seasons as a minor leaguer. The other side of that is he turned 27 about a month ago. So if he's so this is age 26 season because it's the age you are on June 30th of that season. So if your birthday is July 1st, you are a year younger than you are basically. It's funny because there were a couple of Royals prospects. One was born on like June 29th. One was July 2nd. And everybody goes, oh, he's a whole year older. No, he's like 3 days older. Calm it down. Yeah. It's not that big of a deal. But so this is his age 26 season. So you get 5 more years, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Do you really need to sign that? I mean, if you want to say, hey, we're going to reward you, okay, we're going to lock in salary, okay. And you're right. The guys who throw 97 are the guys who do get hurt. It's not to say Cameron won't. Stephen Kolek doesn't throw 97. He's having Tommy John right now, or he had Tommy John a week and a half ago.
Well, I hate to say this for a guy who's a local guy. And if the Royals sign him, great, because he's a St. Joe guy, and I think that's great and be great for his family to have that kind of security. But the team that I think does it right now is the Brewers. And the Brewers will lock up position players, but they just keep flooding their organization with pitching, and then they flip the guy when they've got 1 year of team control left. Mm-hmm. And if that's the plan here, is to have Noah Cameron pitch for 4 more years or 3+ more years and then be traded for more prospects to feed the system while locking up Jack Caglione, in addition to already having locked up Bobby Witt Jr. and Maikel Garcia, locking up Carter Jensen, I'm all for it. I mean, if that's your plan, you might end up having some upset pitchers, but
right,
that's a sound strategy.
The caveat to that is, yes, they trade their pitchers. The Brewers trade their pitchers with 1 year of control. They also, like Freddie Peralta, they signed him, and then they had an extra year because this is year 7, I think, for him, maybe year 8. So if he hadn't signed, he would have been a free agent a couple of years ago. They signed him, and then they traded him with 1 year of control on the deal they signed him to. And so it's not that they don't extend anybody. It's just they do, but they still pick and choose the right ones. And although, to be fair, they also signed Freddie Peralta. What year did they sign him? It would have been 2021, I want to say. I'm trying to find the deal. Yeah, I think it was 2021. So, it's been a while since they've done it. But yeah, this is the callous business side of it. I don't see a reason to do it. But unless you want to reward the guy.
I will say this. I a couple more things on Noah Cameron here. And that is, I know his stuff isn't overpowering, so you don't want to call him a number 1, but a lot of the times, Jeff Passan and I have talked about this, that while the fastball's never been harder, never been faster than it is right now in the game, it's also never been thrown less than it's being thrown right now. So the main arsenal is not the overpowering fastball. I know Mizorowski, when you watch him, that flies in the face of what I'm saying, but he's really a unicorn. And even when I remember like Max Scherzer, when he was in his 30s and was still throwing Cy Young caliber stuff, I don't know if he was still winning Cy Youngs, but you watch the radar gun on him and what he was getting people with. And he had a big fastball when he first came up, but what he was getting people out with was not the big fastball. It was spin and break and off speed stuff. And, Noah Cameron in some ways is just kind of fast forwarded to that veteran pitching approach, right? He just skipped the overpowering, I'll overwhelm you with the fastball days because he didn't have it, but now he pitches like the big overpowering arms that are out there. And so I do think there is a chance for him. Like when we talk about, okay, is he an ace? Well, I don't know if he's an ace. I don't know what he is, but he is a guy that can, I think pitch like a top of the rotation guy, even though he doesn't have your traditional arsenal.
Yeah. And I've used this before, but would he start a playoff game for you? So rather than would he start game 1, would he start a playoff game for you? And I think that if the Royals can get to the playoffs next year, not saying they will, just if, would you be comfortable with this, with Noah Cameron starting a playoff game? I think the answer is yes. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, guys who are good like him piece together that year, and it used to be quantified in wins. It's different now because Seth Lugo didn't win 20 games a couple of years ago, but nobody minded Seth Lugo starting a playoff game. Nobody objected to that. He was a top 5.
The second playoff game.
Yeah, he was a top 5 Cy Young finisher. And so it's like, oh, no, that was okay. But his arsenal isn't any more overpowering than what Noah Cameron brings out there. And there are guys like when Bob Welch for the A's won 27 games. He didn't have overpowering stuff. He just played on a really good team and kept his team in the game, and he won a bunch of games. Paul Byrd wasn't blowing people away when he won 17 games for a crappy Royals team. There are those years where you just kind of pile up the numbers. And like I said, normally it was quantified in wins. And so nowadays the metrics dig down through, and if you're not striking guys out, you don't get the big WAR and all that kind of stuff as a pitcher. But he's gonna, if he continues to pitch the way, if he continues to pitch the way he has for the last 5 games, he's gonna win a Cy Young. He's insane.
Well, yeah.
He's got a 1.19 ERA. So I don't think that's going to continue. But my point is though that he could have a year where he does win 17, 18 games. He's the league leader in wins if the Royals are a good team, just pitching like this, because he stays in games. He goes deep in games. And if there's a good team behind him, then he'll pile up some wins and people will view him differently going into the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. And let me give you one quick stat that I think is interesting. After throwing 9 innings today, he has now thrown 138 1/3 innings in both of his big league seasons. So it is an exact equal number of innings. More hits this year, but 4 fewer home runs, the exact same number of walks, 12 more strikeouts. That's improved. The hits are because of that middle stretch that he was just brutal. And it seems like he's figured some things out from. Everything else is getting better. The walks were fine, so they didn't get better. But yeah.
The velocities are all a little bit higher. Like within the parameters of what he's been, like he's just maybe cleaned up his delivery, or he did some, weighted ball work in the offseason. But his fastball's tenths of it, I think almost, is it 4 or 5 tenths? And I want to say like the slider's like 8, 9 tenths faster. And, so there's
looking right now coming into today, 92.3 on the fastball last year, 92.5 this year. So slightly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you don't typically see improvement though.
Right. So he's around where he's been, and maybe just a little bit more. Maybe he's found a little something in what he's done. But yeah, I listen, how can it be as simple as calling his own pitches?
Well, I'll tell you, people thought we asked the question, well, can he not pitch well unless he's throwing to Salvi? Carter Jensen caught today. It's the first time Carter Jensen has caught him while he's calling his own pitches. So I don't know. Why not? We've talked about this a lot so far, so we don't need to dwell on it. But at some point, if that gives you confidence, then that's enough. You can't give me a pitch com and say, go out and call your own pitches. You'll be confident enough to pitch well. I'll be hurt within 3 pitches, so I won't actually get blown up. I'll just be out of the game very quickly. But if I did stay in the game, I would get massacred. So you've got to have talent, obviously. But if that was what was missing, if the conviction on his pitches, sure, why not? The weirder things have gotten players over the hump before.
Yeah, for sure. But it is an amazing story right now that it's like, oh, it seems to be that just because he's calling his own game, that's been night and day. Because it wasn't like he was okay and he got better. He sucked, and now he's great. Like, it is an amazing turnaround. All right, we got a lot more we want to get to when it comes to the pitching, also the bats here in a little bit. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at GAN. Your parking lot says a lot about your business. Cracks, potholes, faded striping, and damaged concrete can create safety concerns and leave the wrong impression with customers. GAN Asphalt and Concrete helps Kansas City businesses protect their properties with asphalt paving, seal coating, crack filling, parking lot striping, concrete work, and repairs. Their experienced crews deliver quality workmanship and dependable service on every project. Whether you need routine maintenance or a complete parking lot overhaul, GAN is ready to help you. Get started today with a free estimate at GANasphalt.com. GAN Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lots. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. All right, let me make clear, I really don't care any game the Royals win or lose right now. I'd prefer they win. When I'm watching the game, I want a competitive effort, and I want the guys that are out there trying to win. But the big picture, this is all about what's going to happen in 27 now. What's going to happen whenever this team is good enough to reach a playoff again. That's where my focus is. So I want to be clear. I don't really care that Daniel Lynch goes out and starts a game and then they lose. But I'm not sure what they think they're going to get from Daniel Lynch starting. And it's clear that he takes on a different mindset or pitches differently. How many more times can we watch him go out as the starter and be completely ineffective before the Royals have the conclusion that this isn't working?
Let's see. There's 37 games left. 37 divided by 5. 7 more times. Look. Here's the thing. I think you said this the first time. He was not their first choice or their second choice or their third. They traded for Randy Dobnak, who has been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. We'll get to him. I do kind of get the feeling that this is like, hey, we had to have somebody start. You did really well in the bullpen and you want to do it. So yeah, let's let you fail one last time before we never try it again. But you're right. And it's funny because like his last out, I can't remember when it was now, but he struck out the side in the first, and you're like, oh, okay. And then the second he imploded again, you go, oh, that's why he's a reliever. Like he's become a pretty good reliever. And I don't say really good because he did strike out the side, but if you don't get strikeouts, you're prone to a lot of up and down as a reliever. He doesn't get strikeouts in the bullpen, so he does get ground balls, but this to me it feels like a pat on the back. Good job. We needed somebody. You wanted to. Let's just deal with it. And look, if it works out, it works out. Great. And we look really smart. If it doesn't, then we put you back in the bullpen next year and we've got our lefty. So I think that's what it is. I don't know that's what it is. I haven't heard that's what it is, but
how long does Lucas Braun look good down there before you say, okay, that job is his, and let's start putting the bullpen back together?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. What is interesting about Lucas Braun and what he can do. One, I don't think he's ever going to be a guy you look at and you go, I guess we said this about Cameron too, but you're not going to ask the question, is he the ace? He's a back of the rotation starter. Maybe the Royals can coach him up and he's a fringe 3, which would be fine, by the way. But he's a competent starter. He can get you innings. He's been healthy in his career.
And this is Braun,
maybe not the best
clear
thing
that you're talking about.
Lucas Braun,
Yeah.
yes. Not the best. Maybe it's not the best thing in the world that he has been healthy. But you're like, okay, well, when is this going to stop ticking? But I wonder a little bit, do they go to a 6-man with Lucas Braun? Because he had another good start, 6 innings, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts, I think. What day was that? Was that Friday night that he did that in Omaha?
Yeah.
Before Omaha? I actually don't know where they are. If you go to a 6-man, you have a few benefits. One, I mentioned Noah Cameron equaled last season's innings total. It'd be fine. If he pitches every 5th day, I don't think he's going to get so far out ahead of it that you feel worried about that. But still, be nice to protect a little bit. Waka and Lugo, if you kept them because you want them to be good next year. Protect them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, their Lynch is Lynch. Dobnak is. I mean, I feel like they're on borrowed time with him. But the other aspect of it, Seth Lugo's 2028 option vests at 335 innings in 26 and 27. You go to a 6-man, he probably loses one start the rest of the season. I think he goes from 8 left to 7 left if you go to a 6-man. That helps. I mean, look, and there's no way that Lugo and his team could be like, hey, you guys are trying to game this. No, this is a lost season. Why would we do this? Also, we want to get a look at Braun. We don't want to shut anybody down. There are 800 excuses they can make. And maybe that's not even the goal. I mean, and they don't have to make an excuse, but it's an added benefit. And I would like to see it. I would like to see the major league coaching staff get some eyes on them, on any of the guys they want to see up. I want to see Duran come up too. But I do think there's a lot of benefit to a 6-man rotation the rest of the way.
I see what you're saying. But I think I don't think Daniel Lynch is ever going to go deep enough for you to get there. Like, I think you're going to be burning whoever the 6th guy is to piggyback him.
Well, I mean, I think you're Lynch and Mason Black. But at that point, you're right. If you go to a 6-man rotation, you go from Mason Black only being able to pitch on Daniel Lynch days to now being 2 relievers down. So instead of 8 men, you've got 6 most days. So that's a fair point. Fair point.
I mean, I don't know. I'd be up for it if you thought the guys are going to give them length, but if they're not giving you length, then it's just a glorified bullpen day with one guy leading.
That's true.
And that's what I think Daniel Lynch is going to be. Like, I would love to know who is in the circle of lieutenants around JJ Picollo who's got their hand in the air going, I think he can start. Because I don't know how you could watch him. I mean, they wouldn't even, like I said, as a reliever, he pitched really well 2 years ago, and they wouldn't even put him into a playoff game.
Nope. Was he even in the bullpen? He might have been in the dugout the whole time.
I mean,
he didn't warm up.
Yeah. I mean, it was obvious that they're like, we're not putting this guy in here. No.
Yeah. And then this year he had to get a prominent role because nobody could pitch well.
Right.
And so it was like, and even that, we saw what this bullpen was. It still took a month and a half for them to trust anything out of him. And look, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. In my mind, when I'm looking at the 2027 roster, Daniel Lynch is in the bullpen, and it's not even a consideration for me that he could be a starter.
When you're looking at the 27 rotation, is Dobnak on the team?
Look, I don't think I think they would love to have him as organizational depth. I think they'd love to keep him. I don't think you can say, and we'll see if this happens. I don't think you can say we're going to win. We intend to compete in 2027, and Randy Dobnak is starting game 4. I just don't think you can. I know how good he's been. None of it feels right. I mean, like it's a hard watch.
Well, let's say they're right and they're going to compete in 27. Like, what's your what? Give me your 3 and then your 4 playoff starters. It worked. They got to the postseason.
Mm.
They go through the wild card round. They turn around. They're going to play a series. They get out of the wild card round in 2 games, so they're set up. What are they? Who's starting for them?
I think if they make the playoffs next season, it's because their 1 is not Michael Walker and Noah Cameron, and their 2 might not be either. So I think it's Walker and Cameron. If things go well, if they make the playoffs next year, it's because Michael Walker and Noah Cameron are your 3 and your 4. And maybe it's 2 and 3. I don't think either of them can be your number 1 to make the playoffs.
I think you can make the playoffs with them as your number 1. I think you can have 5 guys.
Okay,
I think you can get there by just having reliable guys that go out there and facilitate the game. If you build a badass bullpen and you lose nothing in 7, 8, 9,
that's
so
fair. There's a lot more.
I just want to clear up. I mean, I think we're of the same mindset now. Like, I didn't say we're in the World Series. I just said we're in the playoffs. So if we're in the World Series now, we've won playoff series. If I'm one of his lieutenants, and I'm saying like, okay, JJ Picollo says to me, we're in the playoffs. How did we get here? Like, what did we do that got us here when it comes to our pitching? And I would tell you that I think the guys that you have with Cameron, and I think even a Dobnak could be part of it. Lugo, Waka, but I will tell you, and probably somebody on the outside, somebody else comes in. That's good. But you're probably Kendry Chourio is rocketed up and is now, or Lampkin has come up
Mhm.
and has shot his way up to the big leagues and is still rolling. Like that is the most likely scenario, which is also the reason why you should not plan on that, because you're putting undue. But if I'm to say, I want to be clear when I lay this out, this is not my plan. And this is not what I would plan for if I were the Royals, because I think planning on someone who's never pitched in the big leagues to be your best starting pitcher in the postseason is asinine. Okay. It is a recipe for disaster. You're doomed to failure. But if we so this is not putting together a plan. I want to be clear. I want to be clear about that. But if you just said to me, they're there, how did they get here? It would be one of those freak show things where a guy rocketed it up and he just kept it going right in. And one of those guys would end up being your lead starter in the postseason. Because there just isn't anybody in AAA or higher that could be that kind of guy. That's where the stuff is down there. It's going to have to come from down there, or there was a trade made. You were in it and you rented some big stud, Johnny Cueto style, and that's the guy that's going to lead for you in the postseason. You got Tarek Skubal, 2027 version.
Right. That's sort of what happened with the Blue Jays last year, right? With Trey Savage. I mean, Gausman was really good, so that's not a perfect comparison, but Trey Savage was kind of their number one in the postseason, and they got to within 2 outs of a World Series title with that. But you can't plan. You're right. You absolutely can't. I just think that if you're asking me who the 3 and 4 starters are on a 2027 playoff team, I think they're the guys who right now are the top 2 starters. I think if you're going to make the playoffs, those guys probably, if not are 3 and 4, then guys exactly like them are 3 and 4. Because you're right. You're absolutely right. If you have a rotation of 5 Camerons and Wakas, you can absolutely make the playoffs, especially in the mediocre way that in baseball's mediocrity this year. I mean, the Orioles currently hold the 3rd wild card of the 61 and 63 record. Like, it probably won't be the same next year. Like, there'll probably be 87 wins to get it done, but it might be 82, and you can win 82 games with that rotation. But I think ultimately, if you want to be a really good team, the guys who are currently in the rotation probably can't start game 1 or definitely can't start game 1 and probably can't start game 2. In my opinion.
If you were gonna, what's Dobnak worth next year? I mean, because if you've got to go out, if you're going to go out and you're going to look around, you're like, listen, we're going to be shopping in the Dobnak aisle. Why not go ahead and make the offer now on what you think it's worth, and go ahead and have the goodwill of putting him into the equation if you think that's the type of guy you're looking for anyway.
Well, I hope that's not the type of guy they're looking for. I guess is my thought. I mean, you look at this guy. The story is great. Nobody's not enjoying the story, but 14% strikeout rate, 9% walk rate, like, it just doesn't work long term. I mean, his strand rate is 90%. That's not sustainable. And I know ground ball pitchers often outperform strikeout rates and all that. And so you look at like a 173 ERA, he's got a 366 FIP, also a 456 expected ERA. It's probably somewhere in the middle of those two numbers. It's probably the 366 is probably a bit too low, and the 456 is probably a bit too high, given the type of pitcher he is. But you can't count on that. And if he wants Michael Lorenzen, let's say $8 million, I mean, I guess it's fine, but it's also $8 million that you could be spending elsewhere. And I think that the good teams find this and then say, okay, thanks, and then find it again.
Right.
The bad teams find it and say, we can't get rid of it. We can't lose it. And that's, I don't know. I just feel like you're asking for trouble if you sign Randy Dobnak to an $8 to $10 million contract, even if they raise payroll to $180 million, which I think is high, but let's just hypothetically, I don't think you can put, like, what is that, 6.5% of your payroll into Randy Dobnak. I just don't.
By the way, I'm seeing on one of the salary sites ARB 4 next year for him.
I have asked 3 people the same question, and their response is, So I don't know if he technically doesn't have the service time, but what a couple people have said is what they thought was the issue, and I guess I should dig deeper, is that the contract he signed with the Twins, which is no longer in place because of all the times the trades and releases and all that. Nullified the service time. I don't know if that's accurate or not. So I don't actually know the answer to that. And look, if he is arbitration eligible, you 100% keep him. I don't think there's any reason to give him up. You can probably get him for $4 million. $4 million, okay. $3 to $4 million. They gave Bailey Falter $3.6 million. It didn't stop them from doing anything. It didn't work, but it didn't stop them from doing anything. So I don't care about that. But so I don't know that answer.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't mind the idea, but I'm with you. You're not going to pay top dollar. And so if he likes it in Kansas City and you want to give him what the going rate is for the guy, $3.5 million, something in that range, and he's willing to sign on, okay. If he wants to test the market, and when I don't blame him, if he wants to test the market and say, I've got to go get paid, then go do it. And,
yes.
If you don't get the offer you want, double back. Until we fill the role, we're offering you that. Once we get somebody else, that offer's off the table. I think that's how, because I'm with you. As much as Dobnak's a great story, you don't get caught paying for the great story. I never forget the year that the Royals, caught lightning in a bottle and David McCarty hit like 10 pinch hit home runs or hit 10 home runs as a part-time guy, and they signed him to a 2-year deal, and he never did it again. And he never even came close. Like you caught lightning in a bottle, pay it for what it's worth, not what he's dazzled, what he really is. And if he'll go for that, great. Otherwise, find the next one. And I think Dobnak is a clear case. It comes on the heels of a lot of others, the Michael Wakas, the Seth Lugos, that they do a pretty good job of finding these guys. And so they should trust in their ability to keep doing it and not get caught overpaying.
It's funny. We talk about we're worried about the rotation, and they struggled. There were a lot of struggles in the first half of the season, 100%. But have you seen how good they've been since the All-Star break? And again, it's a small sample, but I mean, it's another example to me of, hey, let's put some faith in the coaching staff that is far better than it used to be. And I'm looking right now before Cameron start today. They had a 3.97 rotation ERA. Like they seem to be able to get some stuff out of starters. I don't know why they can't do it with relievers, because that's been a problem the entire Brian Sweeney era, and obviously before that too. But
have they found it with Nate Pearson? There's some arguments there, but real quick before we get to that, I do think that there is some reason to believe that they can piece together a rotation. Like they need to stay healthy, but they can generally piece that together. But you're right, Pearson's interesting. Cruz has gotten better. I mean, they turned Daniel Lynch into a competent reliever. Right. I mean, we go back to Lynch. That guy did not look like he could be anything in the big leagues. But also there's the whole rest of the season too, as evidence against it. But that's we can talk about that another day. But you're right. Nate Pearson has been filthy. Gave up the run. Was that yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Gave up a walk, a hard hit ball that it was a hit. Caglione got his glove on it. So you feel like, it would have been nice to field that ball. It happens. But Nate Pearson can pitch. I mean, he's got some stuff. And if they can harness the control, we saw it on Friday night. That might have been the best inning by a Royals reliever this year. I mean, just pure stuff and shove it down your throat. Low bar, but it was a good inning. You see it. He's given up 1 run in 9 appearances. 9 strikeouts, 3 walks. Is that right? Do I have that number? Regardless,
whatever, for the Royals.
Yeah, for the Royals, 8 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, 9 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about whip? .808 is good. Now he's done this sort of before. He had a nice run with the Cubs in 24. But this is, look, you look for silver linings, right, in a season. And Nate Pearson looks like he might be that guy. I want to see it the rest of the year, but he's earned the start of the year next year, at least in the bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and you can squint and start to see some of the pieces of a bullpen coming together. Yeah. Like at one point we were like, they got to find 8 relievers. Right. 7, maybe 7, but now you're like, okay, there are some pieces that can be here. They're still they're going to need a lot. And I don't know that they need, they keep shopping on this 1 year, 1.5 million range. I mean, and when you get burnt on year 2 of Carlos Estevez, you're kind of like, I don't know, we want to go down that road. But if you're going to find top guys, you're going to have to pay bigger money for those relievers. And that's why I will continue to say that the Royals just have to develop pitching. They have to keep developing pitching. And that has to, when the Brian Bridges guys come up, it has to just keep being a conveyor belt coming right behind. And then you can sign some of the position players, right? And be a little bit better there. And then you can flip position players for more pitching and flip pitching for more pitching, so on and so forth. And that's where I think we want to get to, but they're not there. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, a little bit about the minor leagues, also about Jack Caglione. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at Italian Delight. Italian Delight was the first restaurant to bring true New York-style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. They sell whole pies or pizza by the slice, or enjoy their classic strombolis, calzones, and sausage rolls. Sandwich lovers, check out their lineup of hot and cold subs, the combo, the meatball, or the Philly cheesesteak, just to name a few. And don't forget the pasta. Their famous lasagna and classic chicken Alfredo always hit the spot. If you're hungry for lunch, check out their daily lunch specials, starting at under $10. Italian Delight can even cater your next work function or party. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, it's Italian Delight. Located just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Ave in KCK. Check out the menu and order online at ItalianDelightKS.com. Kansas City's own Italian Delight. If your property needs asphalt or concrete work, Gann Asphalt and Concrete is ready to help you. From parking lots and drive lanes to sidewalks, curbs, patching, seal coating, crack filling, and repairs. Their experienced crews handle projects of all sizes throughout the entire Kansas City metro. Whether you're fixing problem areas or planning a larger paving project, Gann focuses on quality workmanship and dependable service from start to finish. No matter what shape your pavement is in today, they can help improve it. Request a free estimate and learn more at GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. All right, David, let's talk a little bit about the position players. One, Jack Caglione continues. His hit streak ended today, but he continues to look like a star and just stacking up good week after good week after good week. And they're not all going to be 6 home run weeks and that kind of thing. But as long as you're continuing to hit the baseball and not getting into prolonged slumps, there's every reason to feel like this is a guy that sometime in the near future, Royals fans would really like to see under a contract.
Yeah, for sure. He had 9 RBIs this week. Kyle Isbell has 15 this year. Different players, obviously, but that's crazy to me. At 5 RBIs on Friday night, was it? Yeah, Friday. Like that's he's turning into that guy. I still have defensive questions. I still have baseball instinct questions, but look, I don't care about any of it if you're going to hit like that. None of it matters.
And I don't think the numbers are directly tied to him playing first base, right? I think they're just tied to him getting the hitting, figuring out has happened to occur at the time that Vinny Pasquantino's down and he's been able to play more first base. But you also cannot just poo-poo away the fact that he has hit significantly better while playing first base than in the outfield. Again, I don't think those are direct A to B connected dot, but you can't ignore it either. And so if he's going to be a monster playing first base, then he needs to play first base.
Agreed. And I think that if that's where he's most comfortable, like the reality is, like, if you want to build, if you want to add him to a contender, which they weren't really a contender last year when they added him, but they were trying to get back to that. I get it. I totally get it. You want to get your 30 home run guy in the lineup and you want to get your future 50 home run guy in the lineup. Great. How else are you going to do it? Caglione's athletic. I'm fine with it. Start this year that way. Fine. At some point, it doesn't work anymore. And I'm with you. I still have questions if Caglione's good enough defensively, but if that's where he's most comfortable, he's now Vinny Pasquantino's probably surpassed him, but let's call him equal overall career wise. Like, Vinny's bad year has left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths to the point that they are forgetting what he was before this season.
Yeah, last year 30 and 100.
Yeah, 32 and 113 last year. I don't think he's been the guy who we thought he would be when he first came up, but he's still been a pretty good hitter. Caglione is showing that he can be an MVP candidate, and it's because he makes such loud contact. This past week, He only struck out 3 times this week. Like if he that was the talk about him was, hey, even though he's not hitting, he only has a 21% strikeout rate or whatever. He makes contact, and it's loud, and sometimes it's loud on pitches he should not swing at, and it's okay. Like for him, because he covers the plate so well, it ends up okay. But I think that I think that at some point you've got to say, okay, Caglianone's comfort is now more important than Vinny's place on the team. And I don't know that we're there. I think we might be close. And I will say, Vinny might be back tomorrow. This is Sunday night. We're doing this, but you might be listening on Monday, so we might be back today. If you're listening on Monday, this talk was maybe him and Garcia both are back. And I don't know. I think you might disagree with this. If they need to make it work the rest of the year to get Vinny some trade value, to put Caglione in right field and Vinny back at first base, I'm fine with that. But I do think next season you get to it, and Caglione's got to be the first baseman.
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. And how do you play it the rest of the way? Pasquantino and Michael Garcia come back. How would you do it? I can tell you that Jack Caglione would play first base for me. Then he's played first base. It's not like people are going to forget that he's done it, in my opinion.
I generally agree. I don't, if they want to say, hey, Vinny and Salvi are going to platoon at DH, I have no problem with that. I have zero problem with that. And look, maybe and you're going to disagree with this, but maybe you throw Caglione out there 1 day a week in right field, put him at first base 4 days a week. You DH him once. Because also you want to balance out the right field day maybe with a DH day, and you say we're not going to run you into the ground either. And then at the end of the season, we want your bat in the lineup. I'm okay with that if they want to handle it that way. I would not have a problem though if they say, look, Vinny, you're going to play DH against righties. Salvi, you're going to DH against lefties. And Salvi, if you can catch again this year, you might catch a couple days, but if you can't, this is how it's going to be.
I will fall out of my chair if that occurs.
Oh, it won't happen. But yeah, that's what I would do.
That's what should happen, but I'll fall out of my chair if it does. Like, I don't think that's what we're going to see.
Playing right field in game 1 against the A's. If Vinny's back.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's, that's the ideal situation. But I kind of like today watching John Rave had a range over and caught one step or two into foul territory, and he could get there, and he's an outfielder. Mm-hmm. And I didn't worry oh God, don't pull something, as he was running over there like I do every time I see Caglione have to really sprint.
But that's also because you don't care if John Rave pulls something.
That is true. Yes,
yeah.
It is true. But there are also, I don't worry when Isaac Collins is running.
Yeah.
Because he's not 250 pounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. I'm not getting on that soapbox again. Kendry Chourio struggled today. You worried?
I'm leaving if you do, just by the way. I'm logging out.
I'm not going to do it. Kendry Chourio had some struggles today. Only 3 innings, couple of runs. Or what did he have? Was it 3 runs?
Gave up 2 runs. He only threw 43 pitches, so I think it was planned. Yeah, he's they're what's the word I want to use? I was gonna say sundowning him. I don't think that's quite what it is, but
yeah.
I mean they're pretty clearly like, hey, you've thrown a lot of innings. I mean we talked about this last week. I think it was. He threw 51 innings last year. He's at now he's at 80, almost 82 this season. I think I get the feeling they want to get him to 90 to 100, somewhere in that range, and say, hey, good for you. Next year to be at 130, 140. But yeah, I'm not concerned about it at all. But I think he ran into trouble in his 3rd inning too, if I remember correctly from looking at the box score. So I'm not.
Well, I also think it's also this was his first start, right? Since they gave him a little hiatus to just manage the innings. Yeah. So he's rusty.
It's been 3 weeks, maybe. I can't remember how long it was.
He last pitched on July 25th.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been 22 days. It's been 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have zero worries. Nobody's told me anything to worry about. And we all know the Royals are always forthcoming with injuries, so no concern there. Oops. No, I don't think there's anything to worry about on that front.
Yeah, I mean, the last time out, he was 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 4 Ks. This time, today, he goes 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So, It to me, it was part of the plan. Let's see what he does the next time. And he's 18, right? It's okay if he's not Doc Gooden in the big leagues at 19.
Yep.
It's all right if it takes 2 years for him to get to the big leagues. Like I'm not.
And by the way, he still might be in the big leagues next year. even so,
he could. He
not
could.
Impossible.
But I mean, I think starts like this remind us that like he doesn't need to be forced up there.
Right. He's not Kate Anderson.
Yeah, let him, and Kate Anderson. I don't know why they're holding a double A. Other than that, I think they may just feel like AAA isn't really. AAA is just a leftover fringe.
There's
now.
There's a lot of teams that don't want their star pitchers pitching in the Pacific Coast League specifically. Yeah. So I get that, but also why is he not in? This is not a Mariners podcast, but why is he not in their rotation?
Yeah,
I know they've got good starters, but come on.
Yeah, and because I do think it's important. I mean, if you don't know who we're talking about, Kate Anderson's one of the top pitching prospects, was a top 3 pick in last year's draft, and he's got like a 10-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, or maybe even more. I can't remember what it is.
He hasn't given up a run in like a month and a half.
Yeah, I follow him because I got him in my minor leagues in my fantasy league, but I think the reason I would ask Royals fans to go look at it is we are all excited about Kendry Chourio. We hear a lot about Kendry Chourio. Go see Kate Anderson's numbers and you'll see something that you're like, oh, okay, there is another level. Like it would be nice for Kendry Chourio to go to that level before he gets to the big leagues. Because he's not there yet. To be fair,
Kate Anderson's 22 because he was
he's older, college. Yeah, 4 years older. Big difference. Yeah. Speaking of youthful, how good is Angeibel Gomez?
All right. I laughed.
You heard a fun comp.
This is not a Royals person, by the way.
Okay.
I want to preface this. This is not a Royals person saying this. This is just somebody who scouts the Dominican Summer League and the Arizona Complex League. I think it goes back and forth. He told me Gomez is Juan Soto, but with speed and defense. And I was like, I don't know that there's nobody who's that. And he was like, yeah, but if there is, it's him.
Okay. I mean, that is, he's in the Dominican League, so we're so far away from having any numbers. But he is 17 years old. He is 6 feet 2 inches tall, and 173, which has him being kid skinny, right? But he's not like
I don't think that's right.
You think he's heavier?
But just from looking at, I mean, I don't know. I think he's filled out a little bit from
okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. But 176 to 173 is probably what he weighed when they signed him. And, and that to me is just normal. He's a kid, right? And now he's going to put on 20, 30 pounds. He's going to get to the big leagues at like 6'2" and 200, when it's all said and done. And that's good baseball size. We're not looking for a linebacker here. And they're talking about him playing center field. So, but right now his line in the Dominican, 360, 471, slugging 862.
No, 662. 662.
Or 662. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
662 for an 1133 OPS.
16.1% walk rate, 10.9% strikeout rate.
Yeah.
It's I have not seen that. There are a handful of players that you see talked about from the Dominican League. The last one like this was probably Jackson Chourio. I'm trying. I think there's an Angeibel Gomez comment daily from people who cover these lower level players like so closely. I don't see them, very often. I have not seen this kind of hype about a player. And like I said, I think it's Chourio. It might be J-Rod. What was the last guy I remember talked about like this in the Dominican League? It doesn't happen very often. And you're starting to see a little bit more. I think part of it's because there's more coverage down there than there was before.
Well, they're also getting, sorry to interrupt you. They're also getting the cameras and all the digital. Yeah. And so we're getting real data from down there now that is comparable to what you see in the other minor league parks and the big league parks.
Right. You actually see exit velocity data and the barrel and all this stuff. And so there's more to scout too. But I don't remember a guy, like I said, the guys that are talked about like this at this level are few and far between. And I mean, look, if you tell me that in let's see, he's 17. In 5 years, he's doing what Jackson Chourio is doing. I might be a little underwhelmed, honestly, based on the hype. But I mean, 271, 335, 463. I will take that 100%. And as a 22-year-old in the big leagues.
Well, and I think the other thing that you can look at, one in Kendry Chourio, Jackson Chourio plays for the Brewers for people who
not related.
Don't follow the rest game, not related, but is a fine young outfield prospect. And if you look at his numbers, keep in mind he had a hamate bone injury at the beginning of this year, so his power numbers are a little bit suppressed. So when we think about him, there's a bigger upside there than really what he's displaying this year. And I think he might even have double-digit homers this year, even with that being out.
He's at 17.
Time. Is he at 17? Okay,
he's at 17 homers. Yeah,
he's another guy on my fantasy team. I'm actually having a decent year this year. I'm like third and fourth fighting for championships right now in my American League and my National League. But so to keep that in mind, but Kendry Chourio, the Royals Chourio, they signed for $250,000 in Latin America. Which is not nothing, right? Because I think Salvi was like 10 grand, right? Like back in the day, and they signed him, and Kendry Chourio's Venezuelan, and so they signed him for $250,000. It shows their ability to identify talent, not just chase the biggest, name out there and develop them. But this kid, they paid $2.9 million, right? So Angeibel Gomez is a guy that everybody knew about, and the Royals won a bidding war, right? They said we're going $2.9 million, and I don't remember the last time the Royals gave a big chunk of change to anyone in Latin America and had it work.
Right. The big one I remember, Eric Pena, and that was a flop. Almost.
Eric Pena was a flop. Adalberto Mondesi ultimately was Adalberto Mondesi was a flop. Yeah. Who was wasn't it a Cuban kid?
That's gonna bug me. Yeah.
Well, Arguelles.
Arguelles for sure.
Yeah. But
they've done. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen them throw around the big check and have it work. We hear a lot of like, oh, they were going to sign Ronald Acuna, and they were in on it on this guy and that guy. Yeah, so were 16 other teams, right? But it's nice.
But even Acuna wasn't a big money deal.
Yeah, but I know, but they were. Oh, it came down to the Royals and the Braves, and I'm tired of hearing the bridesmaid, a bit. Like, go win one. They won this one, and right now it looks like it's going to be the real deal. I mean, that is encouraging as well from Brian Bridges. From we talk about his drafts all the time, but there's also how they're running Latin America, and they've got good talent coming on the international side as well now, finally. So
well, and down there with Gomez, Hader Suarez is another guy who looks really good. We've seen Yandel Ricardo come up this year. I mean, they're doing some really good things in Latin America that they hadn't done in a while, and they're still prospects until they're big leaguers, right? Like we've seen guys flame out, so we'll see over 10 years ago. So it's a big step up.
Yeah. All right. The Royals are going to play the Field of Dream game next year. Are you going?
I'll try to. I've got. Let's see. She'll be 4. I'll have a 4-year-old then, so that makes it a little more difficult. But my wife's got family in Iowa. Perfect excuse. Yeah, let's do it.
It's not far. I think it's going to be. I think having the Royals. It's the Royals and Red Sox, right? So I don't know how many Red Sox fans will make the trip.
Yeah.
But the Red Sox are featured in Field of Dreams. Like, it's at Fenway Park that he goes and gets. Oh God, what was his name? Jones, the voice of Darth Vader. Anyway, James Earl Jones. Thank you. Goes against him. They go to a game at Fenway, right? He gets him in Boston, and then drives him to Iowa. So Red Sox fans may be pretty partial to coming to do to see this, but for Royals fans, it's close, and I don't care how old you are. I don't know if you're ever going to see your team play on this field again, because they don't do it all the time. And so it's a pretty unique opportunity. Like, I think the demand for tickets could be massive.
Yeah, I've heard there's going to, if you're looking to go, I've heard there's a lottery that goes to Iowa residents first. So Sorry, but like I said, my wife's got family there. We're putting in the lottery.
Yeah. Well, they'll sell to the secondary market like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
But I do think it's pretty cool that the Royals are going to be featured in that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It only seats like 7,800, so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
but
we'll see.
But Quad Cities is all. I've already planned this out. Quad Cities is home that week, so you want to drive up for the game in Dyersville, then drive the hour and a half to Davenport. You can see both.
Yeah. That'd be great. Be a great baseball trip for you to take if you're a big Royals fan. Listen, you can always support the Kaufman Corner podcast by supporting our great sponsors like Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Your parking lot is the first impression customers get from your business. Protect your property with Gann. From parking lot repairs and resurfacing to seal coating, striping, and concrete work, their experienced crews handle it all. Learn more today at GannAsphalt.com. And our friends at Italian Delight, Renee, the fine proprietor of Italian Delight, was in the chat room tonight. Go by and say hello to Renee, the first restaurant to bring true New York style pizza to Kansas City almost 50 years ago. That was Italian Delight. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You can find them just 3 minutes east of Kansas Speedway at 8145 State Avenue. Online at ItalianDelightKS.com. For David Lesky, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here tonight on the Kaufman Corner podcast.